Hello, Cal Poly Pomona. Okay, I think I'm going to kick it off and get us started because we have an hour and I have a feeling we're going to use it. I'm going to welcome you officially. Hello, my name is Megan Stang. I'm the Interim Associate Vice President for Student Affairs on behalf of Cal Poly Pomona Student Affairs and the entire campus. Happy summer. Welcome to our student forum. We have gathered today a group of panelists that have some answers about coming back to campus in the fall, and maybe not all the answers, to be completely transparent, and that's okay. We ask you to ask your questions. We're going to try and get through as many as we possibly can today. Some questions have been submitted early, and so some of our panelists may try and address those up front. You are welcome to put additional questions in the chat. We'll try and get to some of those as well, but really excited to have over 100 people here today. I'm going to just introduce our panel, so I'll ask them to wave as I introduce them. Kennedy Vu from Environmental Health and Safety. Welcome, Kennedy. Dr. Terry Gomez from our Student Success and Academic side, and her partner in crime, Dr. Cecilia Santiago Gonzalez, is also here to help us answer our questions. Rita O'Neill from Student Health and Wellness Services, Dr. Reyes Luna from University Housing Services, and will also be answering questions for the village today. Carol Lee is representing ASI. Thank you, Carol, for being here. David Corral from our Foundation Dining Services, and Mike Yu from Parking. So thank you all for being here and committing your time and answering our questions for our students today. So I'm going to kick it off to Kennedy and ask, what is the campus, what is it going to look like for the fall? What do we know? What are we still working on?
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. Again, my name is Kennedy from Environmental Health and Safety, and I just want to welcome you to this forum, and I look forward to seeing you guys back on campus pretty soon. To let you know that the fall semester, when it comes around, things will look a little bit different on campus. The physical campus has definitely transformed itself throughout the several months in preparation for your return. Some things that we've been doing on campus is providing some more signage across the campus buildings, to promote behavior considerations. We put administrative controls in place for common areas that are high use in occupancy. There's sanitation and disinfecting resources available to students, and of course faculty and staff, which you could ask if needed. You'll see several wall mount units across the buildings and floors of all our buildings of disinfecting solutions. And of course, our custodial services team from facilities planning and management have done a great job in continuously cleaning and disinfecting our campus places, and increasing the frequency of high cleaning and high touch places such as elevators, stairwells, any common areas within the immediate building itself. So when you return to campus, you'll see a lot of those things implemented already. And we are continuing to provide additional services to make your return a safer place.
Thank you, Kennedy. I'm going to kick it over to Terry and Cecilia and ask them to give us an update about what will classes look like for us.
Thank you, and I can see that we already have questions about this. So approximately 50% of classes will have a face-to-face component. What that means is that the majority of our classes are listed in the schedule as hybrid, and most of them will be hybrid synchronous. Asynchronous means the meeting time is, there is no set meeting time. Synchronous means the class will meet at a particular meeting time, right? And so labs tend to be face-to-face. We have about 12% of our courses that are fully face-to-face. But the overwhelming majority will have some kind of face-to-face component. And you can find that specific information on the schedule under the course notes. It'll identify the course as being asynchronous or synchronous, and whether it's hybrid in that format.
Thank you. I'm going to kick it over to Rita to give us kind of a health update and where we are at the campus and what students can do now.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. As you may have read or seen from the Chancellor's office, they have expressed a requirement to have all of us, all staff, all faculty, all students vaccinated when we get back to in person. But that is dependent on the vaccines meeting with full FDA approval. So right now, what's going on is that a lot of students have taken the initiative to voluntarily upload their vaccine cards so that we can have that in student health. And so that if things come up with your health and you need to come and see us in student health, we have all that information. There's almost 3,000 of you now who have taken that initiative, so that's great. We're actually competing and in a kind of, not competing, I shouldn't say that, but participating in an effort that is the White House challenge to see if we can get to a certain percentage on campus for all the students being vaccinated. So there'll be an opportunity to win a prize that's drawn every Friday in July. So for those of you that got in early, you'll have very good odds on your prizes, and that'll continue. There are exemptions to that, and I don't know, Megan, maybe I could save that for further specific questions later on. But yeah, so the voluntary upload of the cards is really what you can do now, and it's really easy to do by, I can maybe just mention a URL now, and I think maybe we're going to put it in the chat, of going to myhealthportal.cpp.edu. So that's the easiest way for you to upload your card at this point.
Great, thank you. And I see our chat or our Q&A. If you have a question, please feel free to put it in the Q&A. Some of our panelists will try to answer those as we move along by just typing in the answers, and we'll also be reading some. But I also have some from when you all submitted prior to this coming to this webinar. So I'm going to start with the Academic Affairs Student Access Group. For students who have already planned to be off campus for classes for fall 21 and coordinated their class times accordingly, will there be an option to stay virtual when taking classes during the semester?
Thank you for the question. If you have already registered for courses that are fully online, and you see that in the class notes, that will not change. All courses that were scheduled as fully online will remain fully online. If you have registered for courses that are hybrid and have some face-to-face components, you will be required to attend those limited class sections face-to-face. So it's very important that you check the class notes. Now, can you ask for an accommodation with faculty? Yes, but those will be granted on a case-by-case basis by faculty. And be aware, some of those face-to-face components may actually be an exam. And so faculty don't come back till the middle of August. So your best bet is to make sure your schedule aligns with your preferences.
Thank you. I have a housing question, Reyes. Do you believe the no guest policy will change before we move back to campus or any time during the fall semester?
Hello, everyone. Great question. And as far as the guest policy, at this point in time, we are going to lift some of the parameters in regards to the guest policy, but that's only for other residents. So if you're currently living in either the village or in University Housing Services, you'll be able to have guests that also live within your own communities. For outside guests, such as family members, people who you went to high school with, other students who are Cal Poly students but do not live in either of those properties, you will not be allowed to have them as guests. Part of the reasoning behind that is we're requiring our folks to be vaccinated, fully vaccinated, and we have only some minor exemptions, but there's no way for us to be able to tell when outside people who are coming into these living environments, whether or not they've been vaccinated or not. And so it's for the safety of everybody that's living in our communities to keep the no guest policy for outside folks out of housing.
Thank you. So I see Kennedy's typing in the chat, but I'm going to ask him a question, and then Terry, if there's any additional information that you may have on this. But if you're taking a class in person, how will the class be instructed? Will face masks be required, windows open, social distancing?
Yeah, so for the class capacity, it was set at 50%, and we're still going through the changes with the new um, restrictions on that has been lifted with the capacity limits. The classrooms in itself, the ventilation units have been checked in terms of for the proper ventilation throughout the rooms and the building. Anything that's accommodating the space will be implemented by the facilities planning and management if there's additional supplemental units that need to be added. Face mask practices is still being discussed with the campus leadership, and we're trying to align ourselves with the new standards that are coming through. But that is more information is forthcoming on what the new guidelines for campus protocols will be in that respect. Social distancing, obviously the distancing aspect of the state orders have been dissolved. So distancing is only reflective right now on campus at 6 feet until we make further changes for the fall. But I could anticipate the fall won't be a distancing factor based on vaccination status throughout the campus classrooms.
Thank you. So back to you, Ray, I think there's a question in the chat and also this question we got earlier. How many members of the family will be allowed to move us into the residence halls? And based on what you just said about the guest policy, how will that look like, or how will that work?
Great. I started typing some of the answer to that question. I saw that in the Q&A. We're allowing for move-in day only, each resident to have 2 family members or friends assist with the move-in process. So that is, you can have 2 people assist you with the move-in. We're going to have you register those 2 people ahead of time. And again, all of this is done for precaution and safety reasons. So if there is an outbreak, it's the contact tracing ability so that we can notify people as needed. But for move-in only, we are allowing 2 outside folks to assist with the move-in process.
Thank you. Okay, Rita, I have a health one. If I have 1 shot, but do not move forward with the 2nd shot due to an adverse reaction, will there be a way to appeal to not be fully vaccinated for people like me?
The short answer is yes. There is a medical exemption for those who may be indicated for any kind of health reason that they shouldn't receive both doses or either dose of a vaccine. So the medical exemptions forms they're on the site already for students. So you download that form. You usually take it to a provider who is familiar with your medical history and have them sign it that you do have a medical concern. And then that exempts you from the vaccine requirement.
Thank you. Okay, Ray, it's back to you. There's a bunch in the chat and I have a bunch from Freeloaded. When is move-in day?
Yes, so again, in order to keep people's safety in mind, we're most likely, as of today, having 3 move-in days. So we're looking at having people schedule appointment times so that we can monitor and can kind of control the masses in regards to making sure that one building doesn't get overloaded. We have limited elevators. And so, again, trying to keep all that in mind. Our move-in days are scheduled right now for being that Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday prior to the start of school, which is on Thursday. So that again, right now, we're looking at Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday as our move-in days.
Thank you. Okay, Carol, I have a brick question. Do you know, or has it been decided when the showers can start to be used at the brick?
Good question. So this time we plan to reopen at the start of the fall semester. Due to some pending maintenance work at the facilities, for health and safety reason, we are not reopening the showers at this time. But we do understand that this may be some of our students' only access to shower facilities. So we're working to figure out a way to provide to speed up our maintenance work and also to provide some custodial crew to maintain and clean the space so that we can open a little sooner than our original plan. So as soon as we are able to decide on when the showers can be open, we will provide that information online, and we'll also share it on the Safer Return website.
Great. Thank you. And we'll say this again a couple of times during this forum and get the information out after we close, but the Safer Return website has a ton of information about returning to campus and also a lot of frequently asked questions that we actually take some of these questions and put them in to make sure that the answers are available for everyone to see. So we'll make sure that that link is out as we close the session later on. I have another question, Rita. Is there a specific date when I have to finish inputting all my immunization records on my health center?
So there's a whole list of immunizations for incoming students other than just the COVID vaccine. So I'm going to answer the question thinking that it's referring to those. The typical thing is that we ask that you do it before you start classes. That's from a public health perspective. You have a little bit of leeway, and we really try to follow up with you as you engage in your first semester and hopefully get it done as soon as possible. So you'll see a to-do list to kind of remind you on your portal as you go in to check on things, but the sooner the better on that.
Great, thank you. David, dining. What does dining look like for the fall? Are all restaurants going to be open, all dining, or do you know yet? I think you're still on mute.
How about now?
Perfect.
Sorry about that. For our dining, we'll have Centerpoint open. We'll have some shops at B&C open, Hibachi, Qdoba, Subway, Polyfresh. Panda will be open at Campus Marketplace. We'll have a C-store available. We're still looking at our coffee options for Starbucks, but we plan to have a coffee option on campus. I know that would be highly needed. So what we try to do is capture most of the audiences in designated areas on campus, and then also be ready to expand or shift however the fall forms out. But we're ready and have a bunch of plan Bs and Cs and Ds as it rolls out. But we're excited to have everybody back, and we believe our current plan for the operation is sufficient to what we believe going to happen in the fall for now.
Great, thank you. Okay, Reyes, are the move-in dates the same for housing as they are for the village?
So the move-in dates for the village, I understand there will be one on the weekend, so it's either Saturday or Sunday. And then there's also going to be one during the week, which I believe they said it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. But more information from the village will be sent out to all those who've been assigned. I know a student, Kevin Black, was the one that asked that question. So I will reach out to the village directly and have them contact you with the correct, most accurate answer possible.
Thank you. Okay, Mike, we have a parking question. Will parking prices be the same even if a person's class meetings are only a few times a semester?
That is a great question. This fall, we are excited to launch what's called a flexible parking permit for the fall semester. And what that means is if you happen to have a class on Mondays and Wednesdays only, you can buy a parking permit that's valid on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, through Friday in, for 50% of the normal cost of the semester permit. Likewise, you can also buy a parking permit that's valid on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday only at also 50% of the cost. Now, if you have classes on more than, just either of those situations, the regular semester permit will still be available. So you can still buy the semester permit as well.
Great, thank you. Okay, Reyes, I think you're going to have to say the dates again because we've just had some more people come on in and we knew this was going to happen. So those of you who've heard this once, we've got it. What are the move-in days for housing this for fall semester?
So for fall semester for University Housing Services, we're looking at Sunday, August 15th, Monday, August 16th, and Wednesday, August 18th, the week just before classes start on the 19th. So those will be our move-in days for University Housing Services. The Village, that was a question asked earlier. My understanding with the Village is that they're going to be having one move-in day on the weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. So that would be the 14th or 15th. And then there will be one day during the week, which would be either the 16th, 17th, or 18th. And that information will be sent out to all assigned students as well from both University Housing Services and the Village with the dates and how to register your guest for move-in day and all the instructions about how to sign up for a time slot for move-in and any other information you may need just prior to coming to campus. The rules seem to change daily, and so we want to make sure that we're staying as close and as accurate and as flexible as possible. And so I know a lot of you would like that information right now, but it probably be in your best interest that we don't give it to you right now, because if it changes, it's also frustrating to say it's changed, that we're giving you the most flexible availability possible for family, as well as dates and times for move-in.
Thank you. Kennedy, I have a question. When do the classroom buildings open and are we able to get into them?
Yes, for the fall, we do have a list of class and or rooms and buildings. And so those rooms and buildings will be unlocked on a daily basis from our custodial staff. So you should have full access to those buildings that have active courses occurring in them during the regular working days hours.
Thank you. Rita, will the school accommodate international students who may not have a chance to get the vaccination shot, maybe if they can't get it until a month after being here?
Yes, we can work with those students. We've sent a few notes to a few international students in places that don't have great vaccine access. The advice that we've been giving those that if you do have access, go ahead and start, even if it's a vaccine that's not approved in the United States. So if you're, there was a student in Taiwan who had access to AstraZeneca. So the advice is please go ahead and get the vaccine that you have access to. It's a lot better than having to quarantine or something when you get here. And we will accept all of the vaccines have been given emergency approval by the World Health Organization. So even if they're not FDA approved in the United States, we can look at you as being fully vaccinated.
Thank you. I see this getting answered in the chat, but Terry, I'm going to ask it as well. Will classes be at full capacity or less students?
We expect, following the guidelines, that we will be back up to full capacity. So we're in the middle of updating all of that in accordance with LA County and the state of California.
Thank you. I have another one from a student that's living from far away or out of state. And if moving back for one hybrid class isn't ideal for us financially, is that something that we work out with the department? Do we sign up for hybrid classes?
That's a really great question. So if you cannot be in the area and you cannot attend a class that has a hybrid component, meaning that's going to have some face-to-face, certainly your first option is to try to find a class option that is fully online. That's not always possible. So the next, if it's only one class, then you're going to want to work with your department chair. The department chairs are working during the summer. Faculty are not on contract. They're not back until the middle of August. So you can start communicating with your department chair and share with them your concerns and your situation and ask if an accommodation can be made. It is ultimately up to the faculty member, but you should start advocating for yourself now. But if it's possible to change the mode of instruction, if you have an option to be fully online, then switch to a fully online schedule course. If that's not an option, then you'll want to work with your department in college.
Terry, may I just add just one thing? We are going to be sending communication soon for continuing students. They will have a special registration window so that you can make adjustments to your schedules ahead of add drop period. I know that things are changing, and so we will put that, we will just keep an eye out for that email that will be sent. We anticipate it's going to begin around July 6th and be a few days so that you can make adjustments to your schedule based on the changes that we've made or additions that we've made to the schedule.
Great, thank you. Rita, can you remind us how we upload the vaccination card?
Yes, the most direct way is to put in as the link, the URL, myhealthportal.cpp.edu, and it'll take you through a series of screens. The first one is you'll put in your birth date to verify who you are. You will need to have your Duo application to sign in. That's a security measure for the whole campus. And then it'll walk you through the steps of, it has a big blue button there that says this is where you press to upload your card. You'll need to take a picture of it. You can take on your phone or otherwise, and it'll tell you the limits and the type of file that you need. And you'll put in the dates that say on your card and you'll click submit, and it probably takes about a minute.
Great, thank you. So Reyes or David, how do we make the meal plan purchase? Maybe Reyes, you could start with that from a residential's perspective, and then David for students that aren't living in the residence halls or village.
Perfect. So when you get your housing assignment, you're going to be asked to verify what type of meal plan you're interested in obtaining for yourself for the semester. So all that information is sent to you in your assignment letter. And it gives you instructions on how to select that meal plan option. And then again, if you do have questions related to that meal plan, you can always contact our office directly. But that's the fastest and easiest way to secure your meal plan.
And then for dining, you just go on to foundationcup.edu dining, and then you select meal plans, and then you could review or purchase your meal plan on that website.
Thank you. Reyes, for both village and housing, what if I'm more comfortable looking at housing for the spring term? Is there a way to sign up for that now?
Yes, I would encourage you to submit an application for spring semester. Some people have already submitted applications for the spring, and others have submitted for the fall, but have decided when we reach out to them that they rather postpone it to the spring. Those are all options that you'll have available to you. So if you're a current student who has an application with us and you will be given an assignment and you decide, I still don't necessarily feel comfortable yet, you can choose to postpone into the spring semester. It is our hope that we will be able to offer more housing in the spring semester based on public health, CDC guidelines, and so forth. So our goal is to offer more spaces in the spring for both, I know I read earlier, somebody is a sophomore, for all grade levels to live in University Housing Services, and the same would be for the village.
Thank you. Carol, I think you were typing the answer, but also let's ask it. Will there be rooms available for rent in the BSC this fall?
The BSC will be open in the fall semester as well, and that, you know, it is part of our pilot program. We will be opening the BSC for study lounges only, and so we encourage students to make reservations ahead of time. But there are services in the BSC that will also be open as well, but those are by appointment only as well. And so an example will be financial services, and so definitely go to our website to look for the appointments.
Thank you. Kennedy, do you know, and if not, maybe Terry, will we need to register to access the library for the fall?
I don't have that information, sorry.
No, by fall you can, we will be fully operational. I thank Jeremy for noting the summer library hours are Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, they close at 4:30. During fall, you can expect the library to be available at regular hours and at capacity.
Thank you. Reyes, I'm just going to ask you to go out one more time because they keep coming through. When are MoveIn Days?
MoveIn Days are Sunday, August 15th, Monday, August 16th, and Wednesday, August 18th. August 18th, correct. And that's for University Housing Services. The Village is planning on having one move-in day on that same weekend. So either Saturday or Sunday, and then one day during the week, either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday before classes start.
Thank you. Rita, do we know what percentage of the student body is vaccinated? If we have a percentage of how many people have uploaded their cards or what we're anticipating?
I don't have an answer for that right now. We are hoping to have a relatively high number, and we've been encouraged by the voluntary submissions that we already have, which we think will get to 3,000 here very shortly. So once we have a number in, 3,000 of 27,000 or 28,000 is what we know at this point, but we anticipate that will go up significantly.
Yeah, thank you. And that's part of the reason we're doing these forums. We're really encouraging people to start doing this early. There's a follow-up question of what else is the campus doing to keep track of students who have either not gotten the vaccination or reported it? Is that something we can talk about in our contact tracing? Rita,
Do you want Letty to weigh in, or?
Well, I think if we just let folks know that already over this last year, and certainly with housing, that there is a group of folks that do contact tracing, and you have to fill out the health screener and all of that. So there's this back end component in addition to the vaccination uploads.
Right, and the overall thing that we all kind of need to keep in mind, right, is that there are going to be other safety measures in place. So like Kennedy's talked about, Terry has talked about with the classrooms. So whether it's, masking or distancing or just our, old-fashioned, not coughing, in a way that is too close to other people, hand hygiene, those things, those are all safety measures. In addition to what we're doing with vaccines. And then we will have a testing program that's on campus as well. So we intend to keep very good public health measures in place so that we will know the status of the campus so that everybody can feel safe.
Thank you. Yeah, and that testing component has been piloted this summer through housing and athletics. And so we can expect to see more of that and that program grow once we're back in for the fall. Carol and maybe Kennedy, if a student group or organization had about 10 to 15 people, would we be able to meet in person, or do you expect that to be virtual for the fall?
For restrictions, at this standpoint, it hasn't been finite yet in terms of what the guidelines are in terms of events. But, from projection, I could see that the distancing protocols that will be put in place for our campus will dictate whether or not you could have that many people in a single room. So we'll have to wait and see what the revised campus policies look like.
Great, thank you. Rita, it's back. Is there any date that everything for my immunization records need to be uploaded by? Seems to be a popular question.
So I said as soon as possible when I answered the question before. The hard date that comes from the executive order is really by the time that you start your second term. That is having, somebody spend a whole term on campus without those vaccines done. And so we like to really encourage people to do it before their first semester, if not during their first semester. And I will add to what I said before by saying that we in the health center can really help you get those vaccines if you haven't already had them. We can give you what they call a titer, which tests your immunity levels if you've done, if you can't access your immunization records or they become lost in some way. So working with us will help you get those things done if you view it as difficult to come up with the documentation or whatever that information might be. Most people have had everything that we require when they're children. So if you might just want to consider connecting with someone in your family who might have those records if you don't have them yourself. But as I say, we can help you get through those in student health.
Great, thank you. So Terry or Cecilia, this is a version of a question we asked earlier, but I'm going to ask it again. Will there be an option to remain completely online if 2 of the 5 classes were in person and we're just living far away and it's financially hard for us to get to campus? How would that work?
Thank you for that question. It's a really important one, and we understand the anxiety that this is all causing our students. In that scenario, where only 1 or 2 of your classes is currently hybrid because perhaps there wasn't other options to be fully online, you will want to begin working with your department chair and eventually the faculty instructor to see what accommodations can be made to support your situation, right? And so as I mentioned earlier, faculty are away until the middle of August. I know that doesn't give you much peace of mind. So they are unlikely to answer emails in July. However, department chairs are here. College deans and associate deans are working and they can respond to you. And so you'll want to identify the department, work with the department chair, and request an accommodation for those limited face-to-face sections that are in the course. If the course is fully online, fully face-to-face, right? That's a different situation. Then you should not be in a fully face-to-face course if you cannot attend fully face-to-face. The only exceptions where you may be able to do this will be where it's hybrid and there are a few face-to-face sessions, class sessions that are scheduled.
Thank you. Reyes, there's a question about what do I bring for housing? Is there an FAQ or a list somewhere that we could direct folks to?
Yes, I would encourage you to visit our University Housing website for information about what's in your rooms. Its basic information can be found easily on that FAQ, as well as when you move into your residence hall community. It really depends on which community you're living in, but all rooms will come with a bed, a dresser, a desk, a chair, and a desk chair, bookcase. And so those are the standard pieces of furniture that are in those the student room portion. And if you're in the suite, there's a fridge and a microwave. And so again, it really is going to depend on where you've been assigned. And if you have specific questions, I would encourage you to use the housing@cpp.edu email address so that you could say, I can't find what I'm looking for. What should I be bringing? All of that will be sent in your move-in letter that you'll be getting. But if you want to get ahead of that, you can contact us directly and we'll make sure to tell you what's in your specific room space.
Great, thank you. Rita, back to you. A question about a student who may not have received the vaccine and due to religious reasons and also not comfortable taking the COVID test. Will there be a general health screen like a temperature check or reporting of any symptoms, and masks be enough to allow folks to be accessing the campus?
So the health screening will not be enough in our current planning. So either you have been vaccinated, you have a medical or religious exemption, and then that would mean that you become part of a testing protocol. So most likely to test once a week. And the testing will likely not be a nose swabbing. It will be giving a saliva sample. So there's no discomfort in the testing, but the screening mechanism is not considered sufficient as a public health measure to be allowed to be on campus.
Thank you. Reyes, study rooms and housing and the pool. And then I'll also ask Carol to follow up on the pool opening at the Brick. Will they be open this fall?
So yes, the pool, unfortunately, in University Housing Services is not going to be open. Most people don't know that we have a pool, but we do. It's a small one that's by the traditional halls. That pool will not be open for the fall and moving forward. We encourage you to utilize the pool at the Brick since it's wonderful, huge, temperature controlled. It's a much better facility to be using anyway. So highly encourage you to visit our friends at the Brick. Study rooms will be open in University Housing Services. We do have protocols put into place for cleaning, as well as we'll make sure that each study room space and common area has disinfectant wipes, so that you can, if you also want to wipe down your area, you can, to ensure, again, everyone's safety at this point in time. And there will be social distancing, and it won't be as full capacity as we've had in the past. We're reducing capacity in the study rooms, but there will be ability to have more than one person in that space.
And I will have to add that we just recently replastered our pool. So it's gonna feel like it's a brand new pool. And definitely you have to make a reservation. It's almost a theme throughout, right? Reservations or by appointment only, but you'll get the appointment is 105 minutes. And so it's plenty of time for you to swim in and get showered and change it back into your clothes. But definitely we encourage you to make an appointment and go visit us at the Brick. Our pool is open.
Thank you both. Carol, sorry, no, Rita. Carol, you don't want this one. Rita, how long does it take for an online COVID Vax card to be reviewed?
Right now, we have a very quick turnaround. We're usually getting them done either same day or next day. So we're trying not to let them build up to where we get a few days behind, but as it gets closer to August, I anticipate that we won't be able to do thousands every day. So you may have like a 3 to 5 day time period as we get toward August, but right now it's same day or next day.
Thank you. Reyes, when is the move-in letter going to be sent?
We are working on getting that letter to y'all. We're in addition to that, we're working with student health because we'll be sending out instructions on how to upload your vaccination as part of the requirement to live in housing. And so we're working on getting all of that plus the exemption policy in place. So those letters will be coming out sometime, I would say, in the 2nd to 3rd week of July. And we will then follow up with an additional letter in very early August, if not late July, with your sign up for your move-in date, time and date. So it should be coming up in the next couple of weeks that you'll start to hear more communication from University Housing Services as well as the village.
Thank you. So Rita, I think you're the popular one today. Are you still required to have that vaccine if all your courses are online and you don't plan on taking courses in campus?
So the policy would be about campus access. So if you are a completely online student, then you would not need to meet the vaccine requirement or be tested, obviously, if you're not going to be on campus. So it's if you connect it to campus access, that's really what we're looking at.
Thank you. Mike, I know you answered this earlier, but could you revisit the parking pass change, and is parking this year going to be limited?
Sure. So the cost of a semester parking permit is $231. That's what it was last year, and it stayed the same this year, so no change there. All parking facilities will be open in the fall. We'll have very limited construction on some of our roadways, but mainly on the internal roads at Camphor and Olive Walk. So all of our parking facilities will be open. Also, we have a flexible fall parking permit for 50% off of the normal semester cost, and that can be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday permit, or a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday permit, again for 50% off.
Thank you. Terry or Cecilia, if my class starts hybrid, will it stay hybrid the whole term? Or is there a chance that it'll change?
If conditions worsen, which we do not anticipate, and the university is faced with a situation where we have to go fully online, then we would go fully online. Again, we don't anticipate that. If the course is already fully online, and it was scheduled as such before these conditions improved, we will not change it to hybrid. So you have our word that it will remain fully online. The hybrid mode gives us flexibility to increase or decrease the number of face-to-face sessions.
Thank you. Rita, if I do not wish to be vaccinated, but I do wear my mask and do the safety standards and only have one class that's face-to-face, does that mean that eventually I won't be able to come to the campus because I'm not vaccinated?
For anyone not vaccinated or who has an exemption, then that person would just engage in the testing protocol. So likely about once a week.
Thank you. Reyes, housing information. My roommate's not showing up in my portal, but it says I have one. When will that information show?
As we again get closer to sending you the move-in information, your roommate information will also become available. At this point in time, we've sent out our first batch of congratulations, you have an assignment, you're in a double, you're sharing a room, you have a single, this is your location so far. The reason your roommate's name is probably not showing in your portal now is because we need to confirm that they are definitely going to stay with us. And once we've gotten that confirmation, then we're able to share that information. There's nothing worth saying, hey, I get to live with, Mike Yu, he's listed as my roommate. And then all of a sudden, as we get closer to it, it then becomes Kennedy, because Mike Yu decided that he's going to not come into the spring. And so everything that I was planning in my conversations were with my first person who I thought versus who I actually was placed with. And so once we know placement is secured and folks are definitely coming, then that's when we share that information.
Thank you. Mike, we have a couple questions that are related, that are parking questions related to housing. So if I'm a residential student, do I need to buy a parking pass?
Good question. So yes, if you bring your car to campus at any time, you do need to pay for parking. The recommended parking permit for a resident is the semester parking permit. You just buy it once at the beginning and then you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the semester.
Thank you. So many good questions, folks. I just keep looking at them and some of them are similar. So Reyes, if I do not end up liking the meal plan or staying in the residence hall, can I cancel it and then come for the spring?
So the answer is yes, with the hesitation to it. And the only reason I say that is there is a process. And so if you come, if you've moved in, you start your meal plan, you won't be able to cancel your meal plan while you're living with us. We would encourage you to talk to our friends at Centerpoint or in Foundation Dining and say, hey, David, these are my restrictions. This is what my meal, I have a dietary need or concern. And they will work with you to make sure that they're adapting and making sure make best use of your meal plan. So there's that, but you can cancel with potential. There is a 30-day cancellation process. Once you moved on in, you then you can put in a request for a cancellation, but you're obligated for that 30 days. And so it's a condition of you moving on in, you're accepting to live here for that semester. We have some folks who are on a wait list because we gave you a space, and then if you decide not to be our resident, you took a space from someone else, and we have to find a way to backfill that space. And so the answer again is a tentative yes, but I would encourage you to talk to us directly if you're having concerns, or if you're feeling homesick, or if there's other reasons or rationale for why you think you don't want to live with us, and let us help settle that for you in a way that you feel comfortable.
Thank you. Rita, a clarification question. So unvaccinated students with exemptions will be required to be tested weekly. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Thank you. And then another one, Rita, as soon as they upload a vaccination record into the health portal, will the vaccinations that are waiting to be reviewed then be satisfied, or will it be communicated back if there's something that didn't go through properly?
Yes, we typically communicate because it's medical information. So we typically communicate through secure messaging in that same system. So if you want to see if you're complete or you need something else in addition, go into the My Health portal again, and you'll see messages, or you'll see your status of your vaccines in there. We don't typically just send a email. We typically send the secure message.
Thank you. Reyes, there's a lot of questions about when will we hear again from housing. We got initial information, but I would like to know who my roommate is or what the room assignment is. Do you have a timeline of when that will look like?
We're looking at the second or third week of July. And again, we're trying to roll out all of the communication as one packet. So instead of sending you multiple things in case you might miss something, we want to make sure that we're giving you as detailed information as possible. So second week, third week of July, you should get more clarification as to who your roommates are. If you have a roommate, you should know the building at least that you've been assigned to in that sense. And again, what the vaccination upload requirements are, how to do that will be in that communication, as well as how to file for an exemption, should you choose to file for an exemption, and the process for that. And so all of that, again, will be coming out hopefully the second week, if not the third week of July, with probably one more form of communication coming on out at the very end of July, beginning of August, to tell you about when to sign up for your move-in date and time.
Great, thank you. And Terry, I think this is a good question. I see you typing the answer, but will there be a campus tour available prior to school coming live in mid-August?
Absolutely. And we know our second year students and our transfer students want those tours too. We welcome you to campus. So they will start August 2nd, but you can already go on the outreach/campus tours website and start registering your interest for a tour. And we look forward to welcoming you to campus and seeing you face to face. So yes, yes, yes.
Yes, I echo that. Yes, we are so excited to have everyone back to campus. We are getting close on time, and I know that there have been some repeat questions and a lot of questions on where can we get this recording. So we are recording it, and we will send it back out through the posting, and I'm going to see if I can get a more specific component on that. I want to remind folks about the Safer Return website, that is an very fruitful resource for folks and is constantly being updated, whether things are opening on campus, what requirements are, these vaccinations, where you can, there's links to get the vaccination upload. As we get more information around testing, that will be posted there as well. So I really encourage you to visit that site often. There's a lot of very specific questions around housing and what to bring and power strips and microwaves and that type of stuff. So Reyes, do you want to plug where folks go for housing specific information before we sign off as well?
Yes, so if your question has not been answered, please send us an email at housing@cpp.edu. That is our housing email address. And we will make sure to get back to you with answers and responses to any unanswered questions, as well as where to find information on what to bring and what not to bring, and what does our license agreement look like, and all of that information could be answered through using that email address.
Great, thank you. I also want to assure students who are on this call, which is over 100, again, I'm amazed, it's midsummer. Thank you. Thank you so much for being so diligent about your return to campus and your great questions, that we will have another student forum, and we'll start posting that date once we have the save the date set. I do want to thank our panelists very much for contributing in all the answers today, and to reassure our students that, you know, it is still a fluctuating time. And so where some of the answers are, this is what we know today, and we're really confident on those, we also know that things may change over the next 30+ days before we're back mid-August. But we are very excited to see you, and I will ask our tech folks to push out all the information on our different informational sites and social media for where to find this recording, so that whether you need to revisit some of the answers or you have friends and colleagues who want to check it out as well. But I wish you a wonderful summer. We are excited to have you this fall, Broncos. I can't even tell you, like, it just makes us smile so much thinking about it. And we're excited to welcome you to and back to the campus. Thank you everyone for participating today. Have a great